getting me. I ran downstairs. I had to grab something to eat. I was starving.
That's all good, man. Welcome back to another Survival Saturday. Starting and getting up, and things are
Mhm.
going on.
Absolutely, all over the place, left and right.
Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm. Did you have a good time at the RGAs and
yeah,
meet?
yeah. That was great. That was great.
Was it?
Seeing everybody was just nice.
It was awesome. Absolutely.
I enjoyed the temperature better this time.
So did I. I thought it was gonna be hot, so I braided my hair up, but it was actually beautiful.
Yeah,
Perfect day. Can ask for anything better.
that's so true. That's so true.
I'm bugging. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Okay, we got anybody in there? Let me see comments.
Nope, I don't see anybody. Did you hit the live button? Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. So I don't know.
five watching.
Oh, there you
Okay,
go.
there we go.
101. Hi, everyone.
Number 101,
Hi,
Coy.
hi, Pip. Good to see you.
Hello,
It's
nephew
great
Bill.
meeting you.
How's everybody going?
Call me. Hi, everybody. How are you? Hi, Ghetto.
Man, Ray Official,
Hi, Ray Official. How are you?
Edo.
Cute.
Mm, yeah, this is good. This is good. Glad everybody came in.
Hey, Skilly. What's going on?
Mm,
Let's see. Hey, Siege. How you doing?
yes, come on in. You see, let me get this back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like looking at things and everything. So, what's been new?
Anyway, exercising mindset.
I
Um,
got you.
learning some new stuff, prepping stuff, the knots, definitely. How to make a net, a fishing net.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty good, pretty interesting. I just went through my bug out bag and my medical stuff just to make sure everything was up to par.
Yeah.
And yeah, moving my food items back downstairs because up here is way too hot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
really nice. Just, just relaxing, looking at what's going on, problem solving. That's about it.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, because like I do certain my bags and check everything's up to par.
Mhm. Right. Hmm.
Like I said, I've been checking out that web page, Bug Out Bag Builder.
Absolutely. Great page.
There he is.
How are
What's
you?
up, fam?
Legend.
Harvin?
How are you? Hi, Dexter.
What's
Yeah.
up?
There's Dr.
There's
Wiggins.
mhm.
Whatever
We got
101,
everybody
what's
in here.
up? Good to see everybody in the chat. Real official.
Mhm.
Brother Dexter.
Mm,
Siege.
You.
it's feeling good. Everybody's on here.
Got my coffee, my second cup, Carvin. Got my red, black, and green. Feel like a black 70s superhero.
Absolutely.
He's
Yeah.
bigger.
Oh,
He's badder. He's blacker and madder than ever.
the topic today was something that I went over, and I was noticing something last night. I sent the Poindexter to let you know that I found this actual gun club that's training for house invasion and everything. It just blew my mind just to see things like that.
Yeah.
What's going on out here? So, like I tell people, just prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself.
I think a lot more people are preparing than we realize, and which is a beautiful thing.
It was kind of crazy though. When I'm looking at that and the tactics, this, and that, and the other, then I'm like, okay, this is a civilian group. This is not a police group
Yeah.
or this and the other. And they're training to do all these advanced tactics, this, that, and the other. I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, why, how, funding, this, that, and the other. What are they doing this for? And then I thought back to that 18-year-old in Buffalo
Hmm.
and how he was using advanced military tactics. They're saying he was having sub 2-second reloads, this, that, and the other, using actual tactics that, an 18-year-old just doesn't, you don't learn that by watching videos. That's practical application. So
Mhm.
It kind of is worrying, and it's also sobering that we have to prepare with that same level of intensity and anticipation of something bad happening, because they're doing that. People are doing that actively, and that video is like showing it. I'm like, so that was very, very sobering and calling us, to action. We got to take our stuff serious. It's not a game. It's not, not for fun. So
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Hi, Calvin.
at the end of the day, they have a lot of camps going on and training, facilities, out of the woodworks,
Mhm.
Just got to prepare ourselves also. And just like here,
Yeah, we know the answer to that one, Brother Dex.
Right?
oh, what's good,
It's a
everybody?
rhetorical question, yeah.
Life in Baton Rouge, welcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you like break all of that down, he had a whole arsenal. Where did he get that money if he was still in school, right? Who bought him that stuff? Who trained him?
Oh, yeah.
So those are just questions people should actually look for. And if people are getting prepared for that, that's awesome.
Question is to ask, was he using his summer camp gear?
Yeah.
That's something to think about.
And Brother Dexter says they're preparing for us. That's not United States. That's us, coming in. Prepared and being overly paranoid and being taken advantage of these training programs.
It's a good question.
That's a very good question. I look at it just everything else, it's balance. It's like you can do that. You can spend tons of money, this, that, and the other doing that. But everybody has to judge it for themselves and their level of preparedness and what they feel their role is. For me, I know it's going to be a primary caregiver for myself, my son, people in my community. So I want to take that seriously. I've had some training, so I know that there are different levels to that. So I want to be the best that I can be in those aspects, whether it's my medical training, my tactical training, physical training. So everybody has to answer that question for themselves.
Right.
And I think a lot of times that people think, oh, I'm paranoid. It's like, well, if you look at things historically, if you look at things that have come before, it's not paranoid when you can prove and show that these things have happened to people in our community before. And it's probably going to happen again. It gives the past as an example of what could be possible in the future. So I don't think you can say it's paranoid unless you just are going so far over the top. It's just being prepared. And as a Boy Scout and people in the military, it's just being prepared. And somebody else voice it as having options. You want to have options.
I think you can never be trained enough because each training system is different. Each individual training you is going to introduce you to something else. And is there feedback from me or anything? Like, do you hear anything when I talk? No, I'm hearing feedback, but
yeah, I thought I heard, but I don't hear it now.
I don't hear it.
Yeah. I don't. Okay. So I think like if you train me in something, your style is going to be different from when Ben trains me from something or somebody else in the chat. So I think you always are going to learn something new. So I don't know if that's a bad thing or if it's a good thing. And training just keeps you sharp. It keeps your motor skills up to par. So when it comes to training, I don't think it's ever too much. That's the way I look at it. But yep, that's how I see. But Ray Official, I agree to a degree. The way the world is now, this is how people communicate, which is on social media. How they get an idea out or what's going on in the world. So to a degree, for meeting purposes, yes. But as far as the business that you have going on, I agree it should be off the internet as well.
Yeah, that is something to take in consideration because we all look different and things like that.
You never reveal your complete bag of tricks or this, that, and the other, your full capabilities. Strategically, you can show some things to kind of dissuade people or sometimes overstate what you're capable of, but
but we also got to look at the culture of exposing people. Even if you keep it off the internet, you can have your meetup or whatever, and if somebody feel some type of way or feel slighted or whatever the case may be, the first place they go to is the internet, because exposing anything brings people, brings attention, brings likes, brings people want to know what's going on. So it's like a double-edged sword a little bit.
Yeah, it's a thin line. It's hard to walk that line without, with any level of confidence and knowing that you're always doing the right thing, or that, there are always risk in anything you do, say. So you just have to kind of balance it for yourself, your level of comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are totally, offline with their stuff. And
Right.
so you have to balance it for yourself, and the groups that you're in have different levels of control and exposure that they're up to. So we have to have a mixed bag of, I guess, solutions, I guess I'm trying to say.
I mean, you have to have a vetting process that exposure does not, leave that circle. So that means people that are invested in it have a stake to lose as well. So they keep that integrity of that particular social club or whatever, you want to call it.
I was just talking to someone this week, and that same thing. They want to maintain a certain command and control and vetting process over it. So you have to balance growth with exposure to bringing people in who may not have the best interest of your organization or your, at heart. So it's a thin line, but yeah, you have to balance it from what you're trying to do. And there's no right answer. It's what's right for you and what your goals are. So again, we have to have a right mindset and be self-aware, of what's going on. Like you were talking about before, Carbon, we have to kind of do those things, plan those things out in advance and line them up with our goals and stuff like that. Pimp, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up, Norwood?
Man,
What's going on, Skilly?
Oh, Gun Dad.
What's going on? Yeah, man. But
Man,
things that,
I want to talk about that. I do appreciate Ben and his wife. They took us on as gun daughter and gun son. Man, I love that, man. I love the older people, man. And I appreciate Ben taking that responsibility with me and my wife. That is because his wife and my wife are sitting down at the table, running around meeting everybody. And my wife said, I think that y'all have a son that's the same age as me and my wife.
Yeah.
Going on 39 this year. And my wife said, you're more like my mom. So that's where I get the gun dad from, because they had that connection.
Yeah.
I love that connection with other people, because you get that. And we don't get that these days. And it's slowly beginning to fade out.
Yeah. Well, you have to. You have to at the end of the day. Because
that's my father-in-law. I call him back. Don't respect the older people, and I wanted to thank you that personally, being on camera, you and your wife for adopting us as your son, daughter.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Like I have a few out there. I got a grand gun daughter, grand gun son.
What's up, Double Roll? What's up?
Yeah, man. We try. Like I said, that's a rarity, because that's what we need this time and age. Unity.
Yeah.
And you can have family outside of your regular family to know that you feel comfortable around, and that's what we got to learn from each other. Yeah. Comfortability.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my wife told me your wife text her and said be on the Atlanta next year. So be in Atlanta.
Oh yeah. Wherever it is, hey, we're gonna make it, man. Because that's the one thing's for sure, that it's successful. We're a group of people. We just keep moving and keep making it going. I want to make it to the 5th anniversary, the 10th.
5th.
I'm trying to get adopted too, Siege. Yeah. No, right?
Deborah, what happened to you yesterday?
Uh-oh. What do you do? He's coming with something. Can he hear you? Can he hear you?
I'm sure he did, yeah.
Huh?
Oh, look at this, what he said. Oh wow, man. But this ain't, but to think of things that's going on, man. I was sitting there looking at all these mass shootings, and I said, wait a minute, primaries are coming up somewhere around here. And then I was looking at a lot of Senate bills and House bills they were passing along.
Never fails.
And look where it's happening in Texas, right?
Of course, the biggest, supposedly,
Exactly.
it's convenient. Just like when they had the freeze and the power grid, and everybody was yelling, screaming that we got to change these, we got to get them out of power, yada yada yada. Then a few weeks later, oh, we're going to give everybody guns. Everybody has that. Where's pro? It's like distraction. While they do their other mess over here. Now they're creating a problem, then conveniently, coming up with a solution. It's the same game all the time. So we have to maintain that focus and not get distracted by all the bells and whistles and juggling acts and all the other stuff. There's another agenda that's going on behind the scenes that we have to focus on.
Right.
So yeah, Texas is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So how many got new items for their bags yet?
I've been going back and my bag itself, I've just been like modifying stuff that I have in there.
Yeah.
On my different bags, putting it in there. I've been pushing my canning, especially with the prices of everything going up, and that's probably going to be exacerbated over the next 2-3 months.
Yeah.
So lock in those prices now. So I've been doing my beans, my chilies, my chicken, and my veggies. So it's a couple other things I want to do. So I'm just pushing my food stores because I want to get that out to a year. I could technically do it right now, but I want to comfortably do that without having to, cut back drastically on stuff. So I've been doing that and maintaining my bags and going through it. I think we talked about it, Benjamin, how when we went to Tennessee, I had my bag in there and all my stuff in there, and so we have to always be vigilant. So I've been.
I like to shout out to both of y'all handling that incident that happened. A little minor incident that y'all took care of at the range. That was real good.
That's what we do.
28 weeks in his wife. Yeah.
Real incognito. I like that.
Yeah, you got to
real
just
smooth.
be ready at all times.
But you know what I like the best? That we had comms. Communications that we had, and thanks for BP putting me on to the channel that we y'all both on. I was like,
yeah, we got to have it. I did a lot of background on local channels and stuff like that on like the sites we were using before. So I think we were talking about that bit and having to get our go ahead and get that radio licensing under control. So that's a short-term goal before the end of this quarter. I got to get that done. So yeah, it's important. You got to be able to communicate.
It's so much, man, because at the end of the day, a lot of people think it's not just 2A, it's the survival, prepping. Oh man, it's
physical fitness, like Carmen was talking about. Others. It's a complete. We're holistic beings, so our solutions and prepping has to be holistic. Mind, body, spirit, the physical, everything. You have to address. You can't let anything, go on the side or put it on the side. I think Billy was talking about that earlier. You can't have a point of weakness because that's what's going to be taken advantage of. So you have to strengthen up all those different walls, all those different sectors, so that you don't, become vulnerable. And not to say you have to be the best at all that stuff, but make sure that you're, keeping those skills up.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That is so true. I was been looking at a lot of stuff. I don't watch a lot of news, unless it comes up or pop ups on, YouTube. But I've been noticing a lot of things on. The 2A thing has died down a little bit, and different other things are coming out of the woodworks.
I noticed that too.
No, you guys lost me. I've been out of vision last week, so I have no idea. But
that's things to look at. Just prepare ourselves. Just have everybody prepared. You know what I'm saying?
One of the things I did, I don't know if I talked about it before, joining the local NAGA. I have been a national member, joining the local NAGA group, and they have the NAGA emergency support teams that they're starting to form. So we've had one outing. We have another one coming up. I think it's next week. So that's been really, really good, pushing some of those things and getting involved in that.
Right. Is that the nest?
Yes.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things I'm pushing forward. They want me to do, push the medical, because they don't have any other medical training. So that's forcing me to get, more active in that, working with the brother from Noir Armory. He has the IFAC kits that he's producing. So connecting him with people to try to push that, because medical is grossly underrepresented because it's not the sexy thing. It's not, oh, look at my, yada, 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 or look at my yada, yada, yada. It's just.
With the medical stuff, I love it. I think
Yeah, check out the IV.
I know it's fascinating to me, just being able to be put in a position where you can help save somebody. I think it's
but it's not as sexy as a staccato. It's like, it's nice. Oh, look at this staccato. It's like, okay, you can put holes in people, but can you patch them up? You can ventilate people one way, but can you ventilate them the other way? To me, like you said, that is sexier. That is okay. I can do it. Oh, I can take you out, or I can bring you back.
Right.
That's the way to do it,
Yeah. So, I think in the communities, everybody just is finding their niche in what they find appealing, because if you don't find it appealing, you're not going to put your all into it. But having different people that are able to step into the situation and rectify it, or teach somebody how to use a firearm, or know what ammo that is, or what type of gun it is, or how to fix that gun, or how to grow that vegetable, or just whatever it is, care for that animal, or which animal is best to reproduce quickly and provide some sort of protein for you. Everybody has their space and place in the community. So
and I love it that people are so open to teaching and sharing that. That's what's so great about it. It's not like they're trying to hold on to their little, area of expertise. It's sharing with other people, because the more of us that at least know, we're not subject matter experts, but it helps that community grow, and you can offload some of those responsibilities. So
and this is one thing too I want y'all to do in all y'all states. Go out and get your fishing guide, your fishing license. They don't cost that much, at
all.
I think it's like in Michigan, something like that. 15.
Yeah. It's good to know, what I'm saying, what you're fishing with and what you're catching, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A lot of the sporting goods stores do it, like Dunham, Bass Pro Shop.
I've noticed Locks and Load. He's been doing a lot of fishing lately. He's like always posting stuff. So, that's a good skill set to maintain. You get out there and just do it. Plus, it's relaxing. You get out there,
Water.
Yeah. It's just even if it's from the shore, from a dock, or whatever. It's just relaxing to be around water. It helps your mental mindset. Because we're talking about those things to kind of help recenter us, especially after a hectic week or some craziness. Out there and find things that are productive for you and good for you that also help balance, some of the crazy that's going on. So fishing is fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's
True Butter did a video this morning. She was out there fishing for salmon and smoke.
Really?
Yeah.
Check that out.
Yeah, check it out. She's on a big boat.
Okay. Check it out. That's clean. That's nice.
Yeah. She's out there. She did it early this morning, and she was out there doing her thing. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I think each part in survival plays a very big part in everything.
Yeah.
One does not supersede each other. They all complement each other.
Yeah.
That's so true.
That one, the other one might fail. It takes skill to do immediate things. Anyone can pull a trigger, but you have to have the skill to be able to aim and hit your target. You can pull a trigger and kill everybody else, and not the person that you're aiming at or the target.
That's so true.
I've seen that too many times.
And dedication, that firearm, how to clear that firearm. It takes a lot of skill.
And then the medical too. I was watching something today where this guy got gored by a bull in his arm. So it's like a penetrating injury. Like if you're in an automobile, there are a lot of sharp things. So that's a very real injury.
Yeah.
This guy had blood that's literally
squirting.
Just like pouring like a continual fountain out of his arm. And
so
go ahead.
I got a question. So when a main artery hit, is that certain arteries, and one is circulatory, that means it's circulating in the body, and there's other arteries for that.
So you have arteries, and then you have venous flow. So arteries take blood from the heart away, and then venous flow comes back. This was bright red, oxygenated blood that's like squirting out of his arm, not even squirting, fountaining out of his arm, a continual, flow of blood out of his arm. So if you have those kind of injuries, just having that tourniquet in your hand and available, you can save somebody's life. So it doesn't take you don't have to be a fully qualified EMT or physician or nurse to save somebody's life. Knowing how to use a tourniquet is vital for everybody. So that's like my goal, to have everybody up and trained on just that, recognizing when it needs to be used and knowing how to use it.
Or even if you don't have a tourniquet, just wear the pressure just to keep it.
Like those kids that happened, unfortunately, in the school. But they waited an hour to go in. A lot of those kids could have been saved by simple medical techniques, putting pressure on the wound, identifying bleeds and stuff like that. So it can save a person's life. So that's one of the best feelings you can ever have, is to be able to save and make a difference in somebody's life. So get a tourniquet and learn how to use it. There's some stuff coming up down the pipeline to kind of push that agenda, make it a little sexier, so people can but we got to have that medical along with everything else. We got to be well-rounded. So
I would like make a shout out to Milkmaid, Hot Tub Tony, Mel, Rodney Brady, Erica,
Hot Tub Tony, Mr. Brady, what's up?
Talk about that's get kind of hit on the school shoe.
Yeah.
You know how the school bus got that back door where you hit that
emergency door? Yeah.
I think one thing doing schools is making the kids lay down like this now, because that seems to not work now. I was thinking about maybe doing an inside pop the lock window for a bunch of, each classroom have it in the school. To where if it's the man student, all you gotta do is pop that window and get their students. I end up doing that for my local county here, and I'm gonna go to a parent teacher board and start talking about stuff like that, because sitting down, play like they sleep, that's not working. Victims sit down like
that, or have safe rooms in each classroom. It doesn't take a whole lot to have a safe room. It's just a closet with a reinforced door and reinforced walls.
There's actually people who have invented those things. How you doing? There are people that invented those things. They have the person that invented that doorstop. You pick it up and you put it in the door, or exit until the area is safe. There's this room that they have built inside the classroom, so an active shooter does happen, the whole class goes inside there and they seal themselves. Now you have the classroom and then this room on top of it. But you got to look at, as parents, we have to put pressure on the school board and our community to make sure that our schools are being prepared for that type of incident, like an active shooter. When you had that incident at the Capitol, they did everything underneath the sun. It just took one time for them to bump up security, to implement and put in all these different things. So this is what number is this in school shootings? How many more does this need to happen? Right, exactly. But
so they're going to make sure they're safe.
Right, but if we're not applying pressure as parents, a community, they're not going to do anything.
And a lot of people say, well, I don't want to pay for that. It's like, you're already paying for stuff. Everybody pays tax dollars, whether you stay in a house, an apartment, this, that, and the other. Tax dollars are being taken out and spent or not spent, for those needs. So you need to voice those needs. You're a taxpayer. You're paying those monies. We have to, like Carmen says, hold them accountable. It's just ridiculous the number of lives that are lost with this.
I was thinking, if you're up 2, 3, 4, how painters and people that do housing. I think tie it up, and then once an active shooter, like I said, the window, pull the latch from the window and explore that thing and start pushing them kids. Because somebody was like, they might get injured. I'd rather for mine to get injured than to get shot.
Oh yeah.
Today they can go down the tube. It might be a rough landing, and that's why I say I'm gonna end up going to my local school, start really pushing stuff like that, because the sitting down, the laying down like you sleep, it's not working.
That's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like what
I know
Demerol
around, I know around here, the SROs in the schools are sheriff's officers,
Oh, really?
and they're
No.
not some old fat dude. They got some in shape, healthy dudes that's ready to run your ass down.
Right.
And
Now,
a
you
lot
saw
of
the
schools,
level of ridiculousness in the Uvalde Police Department. That's right up the road from where I'm at. The victims came to our hospital, university, but you saw their excuses they kept coming up with. Oh, we didn't have this, we didn't have that. Oh, I forgot my radio, or my radio didn't work, so I took it off my belt. This and this, so we couldn't communicate. I didn't know I was in charge. I'm like,
Man,
come on, miss me with that, dude. It's like, and the one parent, the mother who went in and actively, they had her handcuffed and they handcuffed her. She went into the damn school.
right.
And said, give me your damn vest. Y'all not doing anything.
Right.
Got her one kid, went and got the other one, and
Yeah.
run her ass out there with her kid.
Absolutely. Shout out to her. She was like, I'm not waiting for y'all. I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
handle this. You see what Armel said?
What's that?
He said, I'm here now making sure they have features at the Capitol.
That's crazy.
And those are adults that work in that building. You're not worried about the future of America, period, which are the children, right?
Yeah, that's why I always wondered one time, I got pulled over for not having a seatbelt. And I seen a school bus pass me. I said, wow, I'm grown. You got to wear a seatbelt, but the kids don't have seatbelts.
That costs too much money, man.
It's backwards.
That's crazy. You're right, though.
Or at least somewhere in there. I mean, put the little thing around the window. If it was an active shooter, that you should be able to pop that window and kids can't run no more.
Mm-hmm.
That's the least. That's the low cost in of starting something different. Because teaching them it's not working. I told mine, you can get your out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lay down playing like you sleep. We don't know. That ain't gonna work for me.
man.
But has anybody said yet? Has he cased the place before he did everything?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it was like a spontaneous thing because he shot his grandmother or somebody before. And they said the police chased him, pulled him over, and he crashed his car and then ran into the school. And they saw him running into the school.
And nobody.
They should have lighted him up. I don't care what nobody else say. They should have lighted him up then.
That's what I'm saying. How if you're seeing him run into a damn why didn't they said somebody followed and he took shots or he shot at him and they were treated. I'm like, no.
But have y'all heard anything about the school in Texas?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Or another one?
I'm talking about the other one after that. See, the media ain't talking about that, is it?
Where was this at?
They ain't talking about that.
What
The
part
incident where they went to the school, it was a pretty much a predominantly black community. They were having like a summer camp. There was like 250 kids there. Dude run up in the building, and the teacher started busting at his ass.
Yeah.
And,
nobody was hurt.
They ain't talking about that.
Lit him up like a Christmas tree.
It got very little media. That was like
You want to know why? Because nobody died except for him.
Because the gun prevented the crime too.
Right. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
That's amazing. Right
2 pro 2A for that. Like, they used that the wrong way. Let's not do that.
Yeah, it's like.
I mean, it is though, man. An armed teacher stopped him and prevented him from being able to kill 200 kids.
Thank you.
So they don't want that narrative out. They're like, wait a minute. Well, we said this wouldn't work, but it did work. But we can't let nobody know about that.
Right.
That doesn't fit their agenda. Yeah.
Devereaux, don't feel bad. These having getting another deaths about a nuclear bomb back in the day.
Right.
I remember those days. Drop. Like, wait a second. What the hell is that going to do?
It nailed me to the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Prepper 101, absolutely.
That's so true.
Absolutely.
So we have to take responsibility and make sure that
if we allow them to take, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. If we allow them to take the Second Amendment, they're gonna less like giving them an inch. They're gonna take the whole yard of everything. So,
well, all the negotiations are falling apart so far. So, on the bipartisan gun control, so
good.
They're not gonna be able to get everything they want and come to an agreement.
Yeah,
that's gonna be the fight if they even try to implement that.
$1 billion industry.
That's what I keep on telling people. It's so much tax revenue built up in that.
I'm most concerned about those red flag laws because how do you control who decides what? institutes a red flag incident.
Well, the states that already have red flag laws implemented, they're failing. Prime example, Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
That dude had already been reported, and look what he did. And there was another incident. Which guy was it? That incident in Florida where that kid shot up that school down there.
Mm-hmm.
They had been called on him like 30 times.
Yeah.
So the red flag laws aren't working.
It's not.
They're not enforcing it.
That's even in the Oxford here shooting a couple weeks ago. The kid had just had a meeting with his parents. He had found that he had produced disturbing images.
Mm-hmm.
And son ended up getting the gun, ended up going to school. But my thing is, they should have sent him home after that meet. He should have never stayed in the school.
Yeah, they let him stay in class.
They took him on straight home.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's red flags everywhere. They know this when they that's crazy.
I agree, Teach. 100%. They're biased and subjective.
Still let them stay. And end up shooting school. So I mean, it's stupid.
I think they just need to get rid of the red flag laws. Go ahead. There's 24,000 plus gun laws on the books. Enforce the gun laws. Increase the penalties for criminals that get caught with firearms and commit crimes with firearms, and just keep it moving, man. If you do those things, you'll probably deter a lot of the crime. If they're like, oh damn, I used to get a misdemeanor for getting caught with a pistol, now I'm getting 10 years for it.
Right, for just
okay.
At least you'll think twice about it.
Yo, what's up, man?
Mel, what's up, bro?
Mel.
Working on a Saturday.
What's good?
How y'all doing?
How are you? Good. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm on my lunch, so I'm just gonna chime in and listen to you guys. But yeah, like point Dexter's is saying, like drop down, like the nuclear bomb drill.
Yeah,
I could get it.
Drop down.
Mm-hmm.
Drop down.
Yeah.
Because we got that heat rises and drop down.
Man, Dexter Pagan said it right there. This country was built on gun violence.
Yep.
Yeah. I know there's passive things that can be done. Like I know with the Capitol, there's passive things that can be done, like with the hallways, that they're a little better to be isolated, stuff like that. Controlling the air. Those are just like little tiny things. Controlling the airflow. That's a little tiny they can do with schools and like malls or what anything if the money allows. So it all boils down to the bag at the end of the day, how well it's funded. But most municipalities think they can combat it with just adding more to the police budget.
All they had to do in Uvalde, when they was chasing that dude and they saw him headed towards that school, lock the schools down. I know here where where we live at, if something like that jump off and there's a situation just even remotely close to a school or in the area or whatever, they automatically lock all the schools down in that area.
Same here.
But a lot of schools, even it's probably the older schools, they're so open. Like the passageways are so open, and some of the doors are wood, and they don't seal good. So there's
the doors here, they replaced all the wood doors with steel doors.
So they replaced the wood doors with steel doors, like the doors steel, like ear seal.
Yeah, our schools are locked down.
Even
their glass doors are reinforced.
Doors automatic.
Yeah, the schools here, even the glass doors are reinforced with steel wires inside of the glass.
Yeah, but saying it, like say for instance, right? All the children in the classroom, we got active shooter or intruder. The doors should automatically lock. That shit don't cost that much.
Yeah, they got a button they can hit and lock them down.
They have them in hospitals. They have them in hospitals. The magnetic doors automatically boom, and they automatically seal.
Yeah, that's another feature like that.
You show us a hallway that isolates the individual right in that corridor. The classroom door is closed. Then you have another gate or door that automatically closes, isolating him in that particular area. So that's
one of my systems I'm administrator for. it has camera views, and each one of those you can lock down different doorways. Boom, boom, boom. It's but nobody wants to spend the time or money or address that need.
Open doors for egress. You can open the doors automatically for egress. Like say you want to get certain people, certain officers or students out, and lock this part down.
That's what they're saying.
Do it. That kind of stuff don't cost that much money.
It don't.
But I think people resist it because they're not wanting to build their schools like prisons. They're trying to, keep a certain feeling of,
They don't build their school. It's the same contractors that build the prisons, build the schools. That's why the schools.
But they're trying to, I think, trying to shelter the kids, to try to let them know, make them feel like this is not a dangerous society. But in actuality, it is.
But they do it in urban schools. Lower.
Oh yeah, Manual Arts, where I grew up in our hood, has barbed wire around the fences. It has metal detectors in the entryways. It has those locked magnetic doors. So yeah, they do it at our schools.
A lot of the schools here also have implemented, especially in the direct area where I live at, the school up the street. Like if you go into that school to get in, you have to stop at the door. You can't even get in the doors. There's a camera and a mic, and they have to ask you, like, what are you here for? You have to tell them, and you have to show your ID on the camera, and then they'll buzz you in. But when they buzz you in, you'll go in that one door, it'll shut and lock, and they make sure that door is shut and locked before they buzz you through the next door.
They did that a lot at schools after Sandy Hook.
But then what's the failure point on most of those systems are the human beings. So we have to address that too, because if people aren't following procedure, aren't doing what they're supposed to do, then so it's a hard question to answer. I don't want
it doesn't have to look like a prison. There's enough high-tech things for it to look just like a school and remain looking like a school, not a prison, but that's just what they choose to prove certain schools. Again, parents really have to push the issue.
Especially in small towns like Uvalde is a small town.
And
they're probably trying to keep that homey feeling, and they're not even thinking about stuff like that. But we have to recognize that this is a nationwide problem. Like somebody put America's a violent place. We have 300 million guns in this damn country. And the criminals, those aren't even counting all the ones the criminals have. So it's built on violence. We never addressed the issue of violence and how it was used as a foundation in this country. And until we address that root cause and fix that, violence is going to continue to happen. We just have to try to find ways to minimize it.
Right.
And see, that's what
something become invisible. They don't see you, visible as possible.
And see, some of this country stuff is more commercialized. If you look at like 9/11, I mean, you look at the Sandy Hook, you look at all this Waco, you look at everything, and you be like even Prepper 101 said, he put a rock, at the school door.
That's that human factor. It's like humans can defeat the best design system in the world through ignorance or laziness or whatever. So they have to make sure that factor is trained up and minimize as much as possible.
What exactly does school security do? Like if a door is left open for
how are they alerted? Like in our system, it gives an alert, yada yada yada, but somebody has to be monitoring that. You have to have communication set up so you can get in contact with the person who's nearby. A lot of times it's like, okay, this person's in another part of the building, I can't get to it. So there are a lot of failure points that can be enacted. So it has to be a active system that people are continually monitoring, and that costs
money
and time and training. And
they
have to be vigilant.
They funding the police.
Oh yeah, they got all the best gear, but they fund them to buy the equipment, but they don't pay for training.
But look who was the I'm sorry.
Even with the training, if the police have the training, the first thing to do is you need to control that environment. If you can't control the environment that the shooter is in, first thing, lock down, control that movement, whether it be egress or locked in. Be able to do that, and then you can train the police or whatever. The first thing is to save lives. I don't know, but I gotta go, y'all. This is great. I only got like 15
All right.
Be safe.
Peace.
I forgot what's his name. It'll come back to me. He just gave LGBT 6.6 million, I do believe it was, for that reading library thing with I don't know if it's the drag queens or whatever the case may be, instead of putting that type of money with all these shootings going on into the school system.
Oh, they ain't no surprise. You know how that is.
Yeah.
Anything to take away the drive and the stuff from our community. You know, they'll come up with them next year, bestiality community protesting $1.4 million. They're gonna come up with all kinds of mess, man.
Those
Right?
priorities.
I'm sorry.
History will improve some gun nice bombs. Yeah.
Hot Tub Tony also made a good point. Mm-hmm.
Oh, right here.
Mm-hmm. No, the one where if we want changes,
Oh, okay.
we will implement it in our schools, start looking to running for these school boards and seats. Yeah, get those people out of there.
Yeah, that's why I said you gotta start going to these
Yeah.
school board meetings. You know, and
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of that. Well, one I was part of a institute that had we had our own schools. So, but for the public, those kids, you know, that's that future. So we still have to participate in those systems because we're interacting with all those kids and people that come from that system. So we all have to take an active part. I'm guilty of not doing that either. So yeah, I need to start doing that.
And you could drop the link.
And make sure y'all go in before you vote. Just look at your propositions, your Senate laws, your House laws of your state and your county. Just make sure, you know, see what they're passing because there's a lot of things that's moving around there on the table.
oh yeah,
And we have more impact locally. I mean, that impacts us more every day in our everyday doings, comings and goings. So, and it's easier to get involved.
Right.
And a lot of us ignore that. So we vote, I've been guilty of that as well. We focus on those national issues, which really may not affect us as much, but dog catcher, judicial choices, commissioners, police, you know, all this other stuff that we can have a direct voice in, our schools, you know, we need to be more proactive.
Ben, can you drop the link, please?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So yeah, we all have a responsibility in doing that, you know, being part of the solution.
You're right, Purple 101. We was just talking about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because, you know, it's getting boring. It's getting redundant. It's the same repetitive stuff, these mass shootings. It's like, come on now.
Yeah.
And they're not going to stop, man. They're going to continue.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop.
unfortunately.
Tony.
What's going on, everybody?
That's good, brother.
Yeah.
What's up, brother?
Hey, I just wanted to come in and tell everybody, to kind of expound on what I said. When you go to these school board meetings, it'll surprise you. These are elderly people, or when you do see younger people. I had a lawyer that I was working with on a separate case. He was running for school board, and he broke it down to me. He said it only cost him $2,000 to get his seat, and that was mostly making up signs and stuff to put around the community.
Wow.
He was using that. He said most of the people that go for those seats are using that to run for local government, to get their name out there, name recognition that school board seats are offer to get used as a platform to promote their political careers.
That makes
So
sense.
when you look at that and know that these people don't have our children's best interest at heart. They're looking out for their own self-interest.
Wow.
So with it being that cheap in most communities, it's not expensive to run for a seat for the school board. We need more people like what I see on this panel, man, what I see in the chat, running for those seats that actually do care about what happens to our children in these schools. And that's how you get those changes implemented, because going to a mayor, the mayor doesn't run the school board. Any changes you want in the school board got to go through the board. And they have, I mean, it's ridiculous budgets that these schools have. And they're poor mouth for us to tell us that there's no money in the school. There's absolutely enough money to implement those changes. So that's something that, I mean, if you got the time to spend, like I say, it's only a once a month thing. You go out there to the meetings, you address the meetings, y'all vote on the agendas. So if you had the time to spend and you got the resources to put into it, I suggest that everybody look into running for school board.
I tell you this, I experienced when I being at start. We was a government funding program, where the parents had to volunteer so much time to get dollars from it. So we had a committee board, and I was on, I think, 2 years. First year I went on as a parent. Second year I went on the president of the parent committee board. So, and then you had to literally stuff to pass through the funded program. So you had to literally, as a on that board, you was the president. You had to sign stuff to prove to go through the head program. So that's why I say I need to get. I used to be very involved with my son, but I'm kind of slowed down and working. So I need to take time, like you said, once a month, and kind of because I have a passion for the children, because the children, man, something special. Come to the children, I love that time with them. I stayed there. Luckily, the job I did have, I was able to leave down there, do a little volunteer time, help the teachers do a little. So all the children knew my son as Jamal's dad. And man, I love it. I got to get back to it.
You know, one thing I've seen is that we tend to think of politics on the national level when it's, you more effective to your community on a local level.
Mm-hmm.
True.
You don't have to subscribe to any particular party. If you want to run on an independent platform, you can do that. Change. When you talking about changing your particular community, you got to start locally, because it's shocking, man. It's shocking to start going to these places. Seeing a lot of times for a local election, the voter turnout is less than 50,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
So in a city of, let's say, 300, that's ridiculous. So you letting 50,000 people determine the course of your own community, but we're looking at a Democratic Party or a Republican Party as a whole on a national level to enact change. No. Start local, because whatever happens on the local level, state level, whatever happens on the state level, eventually will trickle into the federal level. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. That's like when Barack Obama was president, they were passing all these propositions, how the school books are like an astronomical amount, of money, taking free lunch out of the schools. They were doing all kinds of stuff. But we were, like he said, we were just looking at the presidency, wasn't looking at the propositions they were trying to make and laws they were trying to pass, to counsel out the community. There's things to think about.
And if you want to know what's on the ballot for your local election, just do a simple Google search. Just literally type what's on the ballot, what proposition is on the ballot for for the upcoming election, and it'll tell you. Because if you wait till the day to get to the polls, you don't have enough time to research it, and there might be something in there that you don't agree with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you arm yourself with before you go into the voting booth.
Mm-hmm.
On every every proposition that they're trying, or every bill that they're trying to push.
Yeah.
And we've been guilty of this for years. I know I have. And until I started getting involved in the local politics out here, then I started seeing, this is how.
Mm-hmm. That's how they do gentrification through those propositions. A lot of people don't realize that. Redlining, posting out, like, wait a minute, when does this move? This district changing, It's a lot of stuff you got to look at.
Go to these city council meetings. Like I say, that's what city council meetings a month. And you'd be surprised. One person can come into a city council and object to a bill and derail a whole project.
Hmm.
But go in there, see are elderly people and people who are trying to push their particular agenda. A lot of money being there. And it's, man, $2 or $3 can change a whole city in some of these places. It is ridiculous. So start looking into that, because y'all, what I see up here, I see 5 people that are capable of running each individual city. Man, if y'all choose to, or school districts, hey man, let's start putting our own people into these seats.
Yeah, I'm looking at our board of directors for our North Side School District, and none of them look like us.
Exactly.
Look like us.
No.
It's like, nah. Wow.
That's a big problem too that we have. You have too many people that don't look like us
Running.
running our school districts and stuff in our communities for kids that look like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Setting policies and procedures and everything else
Yeah.
on our kids.
And that's the scenario they looking for, you know what I'm saying?
But that's what they want. They want to run everything. They want to run our areas so they can institute their policies, their procedures, their rules and regulations, which benefit them and not the children. Because we got schools here. The school my daughter graduated from, their school was found to be one of the schools in the state that was cheating on the national standardized testing and stuff. And so kids that actually shouldn't have passed those tests were pushed through with a passing grade anyway, even though they actually failed the test.
Yeah.
So my daughter, when she graduated, I was worried because all through school she got good grades, but it was like they didn't teach them any basic life stuff. Like she didn't know how to balance a checkbook. I learned all that stuff in high school.
Right.
You know, so she didn't know nothing about money or none of that stuff. That's stuff that I learned in high school. They didn't have driver's ed. Stuff I had in high school. It's like the educational system now.
Oh,
it's so watered down and tainted. Her school was called a comprehensive high school. And they basically gave your kid enough information to walk the stage, and that was it.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
We have to look at accountability as well. You just stated what the school is going to do. We should have never accepted that in our neighborhood. We should be like, absolutely not. We want our kids to have this type of education. This is the curriculum that we want, but somewhere along the lines, we didn't do that. We just went with it, and that's what those particular kids got from that high school.
Well,
she went to a high school in an area that I didn't live in, so I couldn't vote in that area.
Right.
I think, and we as a people have been politically ignorant. Now we're starting to understand how things work on the political arena, and as we're doing that, those changes will be implemented. But like I say, if we're not willing to be the ones, if I don't have a candidate in my community that I'm willing to get behind, which I don't out here. So what I'm looking at is fielding a candidate. Like I say, it's $2,000. You get with, say, 6 or 7, 10 people in your community say, hey, we don't like this candidate, we don't like this candidate, so we're gonna put up $1,000 a pop. That's $10,000. We're gonna field our own candidate. Find you a person that you know that's on the level, that's gonna push the agenda that you want, and put your money behind.
Yeah. And the eligibility requirements are so low. I'm looking at the eligibility requirements. It's basically B18 and, you know, and it's like, to get my license to carry, have more stipulations on it.
Thank you for having these conversations, because who would have known, right? That's
crazy.
And I BP, you be a great candidate for any position
for
in
sure.
government.
I've always
Most definitely.
Big Dre, I think all y'all would.
I've always been hesitant, but there's a responsibility.
Absolutely, Sage. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
I was asked to run for a seat in the city I used to live in last election season. And I was like, well, first of all, I don't even live there anymore. And second of all, I don't do nothing for no Democrats. I'm not running for I'm good. And they kind of got offended when I said that, but I mean, I'm not running on a Democrat ballot. Hell no.
Independent ballot.
Yeah.
If people
go independent,
option, man.
But they were the ones that invited me to run for this office.
So you had.
Then they came after Queen to run up here where we actually live at, and they wanted her to run on the Democrat ballot. She was like, "Nah."
I remember this old town they had down south. I don't know if it was in North Carolina, Virginia, where when they have bingo, they will also show the people that's playing bingo how to vote and how to learn how to read the ballots and propositions.
That's a good thing.
And each person that came in that was running came to the bingo place. Oh. So they nipped two, situations with one, area, location.
Educate them and then introduce them to those candidates. We got to do more stuff like that. Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, no offense to our elders and the older people in our communities, but those are the people that have consistently shown up and pick local elections. And younger people, we've been guilty of being apathetic to anything but a federal election.
Yeah, and I was surprised the requirement is 18 years old for
Yeah.
to be on the school board.
So
Let's do it.
I'm gonna get my son. I'm seriously gonna get my son to be like,
That's crazy.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something too. They're doing in our community. I'm gonna tell you something else they were doing in our community that affected me real hard. That my parents passed, buried them and everything. 4 months later, I see this bill for an astronomical amount. Nobody in the neighborhood, we don't have diesel and propane like that, but somebody was using, my mom's and dad's credit after they passed.
mm,
And the town was using it to keep it going. I said, wait a minute, how did it get to $100-something thousand on diesel, filling up trucks and all this stuff? I'm driving around in a gas vehicle. That's something to look at, things like that. You gotta check your history, your credit, making sure, because they use by any means necessary.
oh yeah, and a lot of times when you're looking at the school budgets, if you live in a county where your school budget is low, look at to where the money is going to go to the city. Go from there, go to your city council meeting.
mm-hmm.
Because what a lot of times that they do when they say and refund and defund the police, a lot of the additional resources that go to the police departments come directly out your school Department of Education, directly out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So the schools are well funded in America. Well funded. It's what your city or your municipality does with those funds that were allocated is what breaks your school system.
And that's all public knowledge. They publish all this stuff.
They put it out.
Yeah.
They have to do that so you can learn and go. And like you said, I'm guilty of the same thing, not ignoring or not paying attention. But my tax dollars, all of our tax dollars, are going to fund this. Whether people are like, well, I don't pay. Yes, you do.
When you take that money out your school system, it has to go to a vote every 2 years.
Yeah.
Or they do a special election. And I'm guilty of this. When they do a special election, I don't show.
Never go. Yeah, I'm guilty of that too.
But I made a concerted effort lately to start getting involved in this type of stuff.
It's a good point, brother. Good point.
You're right.
Back to.
But you, but man, like I said, when I was the president of committee, it definitely opened up to the educational process of what our children are going on a government funded program.
Yeah. Stuff is getting real out here, y'all. I mean, medication now is $4.50 something. I was sitting there asking my wife, I said, "You talking about the commercial?" She said, "No, this." I was like, "What?"
And that's if it's available. Availability is going down. Our pharmacies, I work with them closely on a lot of my applications. They're like scrambling for stuff, just basic stuff. It's just it's not looking any better long term. So I know Carbon talks about that a lot. Ben talks about that. For your med kits, medication, you should have been stocking up on that. Make sure you have it available. You gotta have it because it's some serious stuff going on as far as shortages, medications, everything. So
I feel like homeschooling is the best option for our children, to be honest. Take them out of schools altogether. Just homeschool. That way you can make sure they're getting the proper education. They're safe. You ain't got to worry about none of this mess.
Also, OBU here in San Antonio, Organization for Black Unity, we have the New World Learning Center. If you don't have the time to homeschool, set up organizations and groups that can have an agenda, an educational agenda, and come up with policies, form their own school boards, form schools of your own, like-minded people. You can take control of your kids' education. That you can form a nonprofit agency and, have benefits under that. So there are ways to solve that problem because a lot of people, they have to work full time. They can't be at home. So you're not the only one in that situation. Find other people who, have the same mindset and maybe they have time. Hey, would you mind, forming, educational curriculum for kids and educating them under these auspices and stuff like that. So we have to take control of that. You can't just be dependent on those other systems and structures. Form organizations in schools. We did it before.
When I was growing up, our church did a Sunday school program, and they taught. They did. We would get out of our regular school, and then we would go during the summer days for a certain amount of time each day. We would go to church. They would give us more education to further the education that we were getting in school.
Right.
So when we went back to school the next year, we was kind of ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And I think if more churches in our community stepped up and joined together and put together some kind of program like that, that would be an awesome thing too. You wouldn't even necessarily need a full board, but just come together and just do it.
Even non-secular. My friend from China, my coworker from China, we were talking about education and stuff like that. They live at the school. They live at the school Monday through Saturday. They live at the school. There's a teacher that's there 24/7 who's their caretaker, yada yada. They live at the school. They leave Saturday. They go home to visit their parents. So they're doing homework every day, this, that, and the other. They go home on Saturday, come back Sunday night, go back. They get educational assignments on Sunday night, and then so Monday morning it starts all over again. So that's, you wonder why a lot of their education, they're so far advanced as far as their education, because they have taken control and they emphasize of certain things. Hey, this is your job. You're going to do this 24/7, 365. This is what's important. So we don't have to go to that level of but we have to take control of our kids and our communities and our education if it's not being taken care of in the public sector. So
the other thing is teachers.
Yeah.
My wife, we stay involved.
I taught,
Teacher, we will demand a food. We feel like not doing or he needs. That's another. Top of these teachers they don't care. They pay the money they paid is not worth the help.
Yeah, I was getting paid $7,000 a year at the New World Learning Center, but it was worth it to me. It was worth it.
$7,000 a year.
A year. That was my salary.
You said 7,000.
$7,000 a year.
That's ridiculous.
What was
But it
that?
was worth it. It was worth the sacrifice to build something and protect in something that I know was going to have tangible results in the future. It shouldn't be that way. We should be able to pay, our educators more, but it was worth every sacrifice. Now it's just part, they did other things outside of that, but for the educational portion, that was.
There are alternatives to public school. There's the Zayix Institute. I think one is in Brooklyn, and they're looking for a location in Atlanta. Smaller schools, but if we, if you don't have the time to do it, or you don't have the patience or maybe the knowledge to do it, there are schools that are doing it. You may have to pay them, but they're they're startup schools, but smaller sometimes may be better. What Siege said, Siege made a comment. She said there's at least 10 teachers just in a two-way perfect community. And just like Deborah said as well, you have a lot of retired teachers. I'm pretty sure that would come out just to supplement what they're getting from their retirements and teach your kids. That is also an option.
We have resources.
Yeah, I was talking to Coy, and he was showing me his old schoolhouse that's been in his family, in his location where he lives, a community center, and you send the kids there, and you send the teachers there, or you pay the teachers to do whatever and teach your kids. And they'll learn what you want them to learn, the way you are raised, the way you want them to be raised, without all the extracurricular craziness that's going on right now.
That's how we did it. New World Learning Center, selling fish dinners, having fundraisers, this, that, and the other. So we built a 2-room schoolhouse, just like the bungalows they have in the school system. Mr. Delgado was the guy who helped do it for San Antonio School District. He came down, and me and him, he showed me how to do all this stuff, how to build a schoolhouse from the freaking ground up, literally. So I learned that stuff. But there are resources that are out there. We just have to be willing to spend the time, money, energy.
Well, my mom was in school. She said they did all the students from every grade level all the way up through high school was in one building.
One room schoolhouse.
They did everything. You know what I'm saying? She was going to high school, and she was a substitute teacher at the school when they needed them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like it can be done.
Oh yeah.
One thing you look at is, I look at how other groups of people operate in their communities to keep their community proud. One thing I noticed in the Jewish community, they fund their own schooling. They build a school that's just for them.
Right.
And their curriculum, they do whatever the state mandatory is. They'll knock that out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever jobs or fields they want their kids to go into, the whole curriculum is directed towards that.
Yeah.
We used to have that when I was coming up. We used to have shop, and you learn shop, you learn carpentry up.
Yeah.
Got to go far away from the trade, and we got to start.
Trades are super important.
Bring those FHAs back, future homeowners.
The bad
we
part
had in
is,
our school growing up. We had general building trades where you learn how to build homes and stuff like that. We actually built an actual log cabin from the ground up
there you
in
go.
that class during the school year.
Mhm.
We had machine shop, we had wood shop, we had marketing, we had economics,
Yeah.
we had childcare where they actually had a daycare at the school, and the kids that took that class watched kids all day.
I did that. I had that my sixth period.
Had telecommunications, you had all that stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? So, but now it's like, I don't know. School. I know the schools here. A lot of the high schools are kind of like small colleges now, and they have programs like when I went to school there, they didn't have this, but now they have a thing where if you're a senior, you can actually register for some college courses.
That's how my
And
son.
your first 2 courses of the day, you actually go to a local community college and take your courses. When you graduate, you've already got part of your college stuff out of the way.
Yeah, they have STEM schools here. My son's in the STEM program, so he's already gotten so many college credits already. He's going to his senior year. So yeah, they have those specialty schools. It's in the regular high school. They have a special program inside that school that speaks to science, technology, engineering, and math. So those programs are there.
In the Philippines.
Yeah. I went to Cheney in high school and took college courses at Cheney. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's out there. And I like how you talked about, we need to take advantage and build those institutions and protect them. But what happens? A lot of people think, are we being, discriminatory if we open up our own schools? It's like, well, other communities, like you said, other communities are doing it, and they don't get that stigma. The Chinese community, the other Asian groups, the Jewish community, they do that and they don't get stigmatized. When we try to do it, why are you building your own? Are you guys prejudiced?
Well, we got to get past letting other people's opinion dictate how we operate as a community.
Thank you.
And see, and that's one thing in our community, let's be honest, that we don't push the narrative of having lawyers and doctors. We'll push the narrative for a football player, a basketball player, or a baseball player before they do anything, thinking about finances. We know that. We all know that. I mean, some of these players, some guys, they never seen $1 million, and what happened?
I use Granville T as an example of what you just said, Ben.
What now?
You just broke off.
I think you covered up your mic, brother.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I look at Granville T. Woods. Granville T. Woods, if he was born today, we would have pushed him to be a basketball player. That man was almost 7 feet, but ended up being one of the greatest black inventors of all time.
There you go.
We keep pushing our kids into things that are entertainment related, sports related.
Facts.
You can make money doing regular. You can make a doing trade. Right now, if you do HVAC, it's on fire. Right now, an electrician is on fire. It's kind of dovetail that into prepping. If we have those resources in the community, you don't worry about your community collapsing when the great get collapsed, because you have that capable of putting their resources together and keeping the community going.
And I agree with you 100%, because at the end of the day, we need politicians who are our color, not comedians, not entertainers talking for us, but just people in the field that know what they're doing.
But the problem is when you get those, they're plants. And so you end up with people like Obama, or you end up with people like Kamala Harris.
Well, you look at the people.
They kind of look like you, but they're not for you. You know what I'm saying? They out there as a pacifier.
This goes back to what I was saying about fielding our own candidates. It starts on the grassroots level.
Thank you.
Because you never go off of a candidate that's brought to you by somebody else.
Yep.
Right.
If you don't know that person, if they didn't come out of your community, nobody in your community can vouch for them. That's not the candidate for you, no matter if they look like you.
True.
Yep.
We have to do that. We have to start funding our own candidates. And start with a school board, start with the city council, start with an alderman, start with a mayoral candidates, and they'll grow as they grow.
Right.
You're their whole platform. You're their whole grassroots base. You're their financial backing. So they are beholden to you and pushing whatever agenda you and your people in your community sees as being necessary.
Mm-hmm.
We are guilty of this. We are guilty of letting other people bring political candidates to it. We have to break that cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the other thing you talked about previously too, you know, being athletes and entertainers, we were talking about the thing, same with medical, you know, that's not sexy. Being a plumber is not sexy. Being a this is not sexy. Being, you know, intelligent or this and that and the other, being a lawyer is not sexy. We have to show people that, hey, that's, you know, you can make a great, fantastic living. That's sexy. If you're a responsible person, that's sexy. That's responsible. That's, you know, stepping up and doing what's right. So we have
Everybody's
to
too worried about
and show
whether it's
examples
sexy
of
or not.
success.
That's what everybody's worried about, being sexy. Nobody give a damn about you being sexy.
The Philippines' biggest export to the United States is nurses.
Yep.
If you go to the Philippines, Ben, you've been there, so you can vouch for it. If you go there, their education, their general education stops at the 8th grade, and then they go into specialty education. So their nurses have started in the 8th grade, from the 8th grade to the 12th grade. They've been in the accelerated nursing program. That's why their accreditation crosses over to the United States.
Exactly.
Because they
Real quick.
realize that.
They travel worldwide. They can go anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we have it's examples here in the United States of that. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with the Gypsy community.
Mm-mm.
Gypsies go to school up to 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And then their parents take them out and they put them in their little gypsy school. And they're going for carpentry. They're going for electrician. They're going for specialty.
Yeah.
And the state of South Carolina allows this to happen.
Okay.
But they run those industries in that state. We can do the same thing. We don't have to ask for permission. We just tell them this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Same way the Jewish community does it, the same way the Hispanic community does it, the same way the Asian community does it.
Yeah.
But we don't know why we think we have to ask the government's permission to do any of these things.
That mentality, that mindset's been put in us. We got to get rid of that.
Definitely. Mindset changing. Yeah.
Sorry.
BP, you said the churches. The church is the biggest industry in the Black community. Every day, billions of dollars of our wealth goes out of our community through our churches. Mm-hmm. They don't bank with Black banks. They don't do business with Black businesses. Mm-hmm. The churches account. Yeah. If you got a mega church in your community, what are you doing for the community? Have demanded that, demand to that pastor, demand to that congregation, if you're a part of it, that, hey, we need a school here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You make well enough money to do it. Instead of buying your pastor a Rolls Royce, put a school in the community that costs less.
Yeah. Not just a Rolls Royce, a gold pack with a gold package on it.
But you know what's funny though, y'all, on that? I've seen those mega churches, but you only see one white person mega church on TV. That's a real
Joel Osteen.
He's rolling 24/7, but I can show you 5 or 12 Black mega churches.
There's a mega church here in San Antonio that's making money hand over fist. It's like,
y'all realize that most of the Black mega churches you see come out of Joel Osteen's ministry. They are directly, so a portion of their money gets kicked back to Joel Osteen.
Wow.
It's time we start holding our institutions accountable.
Yeah.
100%. I agree.
Yeah, stop being the players and being the owners and general managers.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah. My nephew, he's 6'10", and of course they put him into basketball, yada yada yada. He decided he was going to go to school for engineering. He did that. Then overnight he's like, I want to be a lawyer, just like that. And 2 years later he's working, as a lawyer in Los Angeles, this, that, and the other. So we have to lift up those and not limit our youth and say, hey, anything you want to do, you can do. You don't have to be, just because, like you said, the basketball player. Encourage them to use their minds and their talents and skills, no matter what it is.
Mhm.
We have to keep
People don't.
holding those up, for example.
Yeah, field trips used to be like a really important thing for kids. Yeah, it was just about getting out the classroom, but it introduced you to so many different things and so many different people. Like you went to the museum and you're like, oh shoot, I want to work here, or you went wherever else they took you to. You're like, oh, I like this. You could work here.
Yeah, they don't hardly do that anymore.
Yeah, we don't do field trips and broaden our kids'
Yeah.
Back to us though. We
perception of what's up.
Yeah, I don't never hear kids talk about field trips no more.
No.
Yeah, I used to love when they go to the LA County Museum of Science. That's where I started loving science, because I went to the museum and saw all this stuff. It's like, whoa, there's all this stuff that's out here. So yeah, if schools aren't doing it, we have to do it as parents. That's one thing I always would do during the summer with my kids. We go plan days, and we're gonna go to here. We're gonna catch the bus and go down here to the this, that, and the other, and walk around here all day. Whether it's this museum, that museum, this exhibit, whatever. This music festival. So yeah, we have to take responsibility, because, like you said, Dre, I don't think schools are doing that anymore.
Yeah. With the Space Museum, blew my mind.
Another thing to look at is start introducing your kids to these different type of jobs.
Yeah.
If you know a plumber, introduce them to
Right, see.
People have a misconception of trade. I have a partner that's a plumber. He makes $100,000
Good job.
Yeah.
A business.
for himself.
Yeah.
But if you don't tell kids, hey, they make a lot of money doing it. It's not a glamorous job, it's a dirty job.
Mm-hmm.
But look at
Profession, yeah.
Yeah.
Lifelong profession.
Garbage men make great salaries.
That's how Billy Joe started. He was like,
It's great.
You said something about a one room school?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't-
Take that stigma off of working on it.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
What's
You said
good?
something about a one room school, right?
Mm-hmm.
There
That's
you go.
good.
What?
How long have been there, Coy?
The school and the church has been here 130 years.
Wow.
Wow.
He showed me that earlier. I was like, wow.
That's
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 an
our old family
institution
church.
right there. That's
Yeah.
an institution right there.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get back to that.
Yeah.
You don't need a big grand building, all this crazy edifices, all this stupid stuff that,
Schools set up with computers, a retired teacher for the parents who are still working, and the kids are learning.
that's what I did for New World Learning Center. Built their first computer lab and did all that stuff. We have the resources, we have the people out there. We just have to have the, want to do it and get out there and doing it.
I think we kind of got to get back to the basics.
Basic
Look
stuff,
at
man.
our history when we were profitable.
Shout out, Siege. Mm-hmm.
When we were coming off of slavery, we had nothing, but we had know-how to do certain things. We built community, built a lot
Wow,
of
see,
communities before. We can do it again. We just take the example that was basically shown to us. They crowdfunded community. Everybody put into the pot.
Yeah.
Everybody put in. So you open up a store, you open up a school, you open up a church. But the community had a stake in that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we got to get back to that. Is looking at, don't look at the people around you as just my neighbors or just somebody. No, that's your community. And y'all want to start working together as a community to get the things that you want done for the community.
I agree.
that's crazy what C's put in there. It's like, how are we in 2022? We still counting stuff on one hand. The first,
Siege brought up something. I'm sorry, BP. Siege brought up something. I'm in the industry as well. Do you know, like she put up $115,000 for a claims adjuster. You don't need a college education for a claims adjuster. It's a 3-day class.
Wow.
In the state of Georgia. In a lot of cities, it's shorter than that. That can be brought into a high school. Show these kids, hey, we put this into the curriculum and funnel them from 18 years old. They can go right into the insurance industry, making at a minimum $70,000 as a claims adjuster. It's a shortage of claims adjusters.
same in the IT industry too.
Exactly.
You don't have to go. In fact, the people that come out with degrees are less prepared than people who have gone through it, actually done it, got a few certifications, which don't cost hardly anything, and actually doing stuff firsthand. Those are people who are better prepared and walking into jobs paying $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 and going up from there drastically. The more experience you get. So like we get sold a bill of goods, you have to have this degree, this piece of paper that says you're, educated. But most, like I said, most of those people that come out of degree programs, they can't think their way out of a paper bag. So we have to look at that.
Yeah, because I think you can. A lot of people go the computer science route when it comes to IT. But what you find out is you can get a CCNA, which is basically a basic Cisco, or A plus, a lot of certifications, and actually work in the industry. And you'll find out that once you get in there, you'll make a 6-figure job in a short period of time. Because what's happened over the IT field over the years is it's not so much one discipline per se. They're hiring people that can cover all the disciplines. Say, I got a guy that comes in, he might be a CCNP or CCIP, all fast stuff. He can't do the stuff or program stuff.
Exactly.
So these kids are actually learning all the different things.
Coy, you sound like a robot.
You're breaking up a little bit. But what he's saying is a lot of these kids are coming in with different. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm driving. Go ahead.
No, I was just trying to read what you were saying, how a lot of these kids are coming in, multidisciplines, getting these certifications and having a head start. The program my son goes to, he already has 3 certs already.
Wow.
He's going to get 3 more this year in his senior year.
Wow.
He's already ahead. I'm on the web team, this, that, and the other. I have certain certs, CCNA and all this other stuff too. But I was talking to my team member. He's like, he's already Java this, that, and the other. I'm like, damn. He's like, Robert, do you have that? No, I don't have that. Do you have that? It was like, so, yeah, you can, like you said, you can get out and get a job that's already paying well without having to be in university yet. So there are ways
the thing
around.
of it is, everybody wants to prepare their kids for the future. But with the way things are in the world, is anybody preparing them to live in a lifestyle prior to what we have now, without computers?
Exactly.
Is anybody teaching them how to do that type of stuff?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
When
why
I look at new math, how you get to 4 + 1 = 5 now,
Yeah, that
compared to when I was in school.
I don't get it.
Like, where are all these dots on the paper?
4 fingers. Boy, that's not. I don't know what else you want me to say about this.
I would hate doing homework with my kids because I'm like looking at the math. I'm like, that doesn't make.
Nope.
I don't get it.
I see these kids drawing the little dots and like, well, you got to move this dot over here and do this, connect this. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you got 4 fingers. You have 1 more. That's 5.
It's like this. It's not
New math.
yeah, it's new math.
New math.
It's
Yeah.
What's wrong with the old one? I like the old one.
Well, what is 2 + 2?
Oh,
I'm glad it's not just me. I thought it was just me. It was like,
No, man.
I got a headache. I was like, what?
You know, I used to ask my mom for help with homework. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, oh, yeah, come on. Why? Now these kids actually like, can you help me with my homework? You look at like, what the hell is this? Calculus? Well, no, I'm trying to figure out 2 + 1. What?
So you got to add and divide at the same time?
Right. I don't get. You're right, but it's wrong. Wait.
yeah.
It's a longer way of doing math.
Yeah.
It's not the most efficient version, and that was part of that Common Core that Obama brought in. Now you're starting to see it when you did the homeschool. I know I did when I seen the homeschool. I had a whole argument with a teacher. My son, I'm like, this don't make no sense to me. This is not how I learn math. But it's a new math. Like what was wrong with the old math?
Yeah.
Nothing. If it ain't
Well,
broke,
You have
you
to
know
write
what
new
the old
books. You
man-
have to have new publishing, all that other stuff. The monies that get generated from doing all that.
Old man
So
stayed in
also,
the private
bring new
school.
books and stuff, curriculum in every year. Somebody has to sit and develop this. That's another job for somebody else who's in. It's about the money.
But I'm at heart I like this prepper community because you start to think of things differently. When you start to think of prepping, you starting to push. I know I am. I'm pushing my kids towards practical things that if a grid falls, we got to start a society all the way over from scratch. Certain people you need in place.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? I don't tell anybody don't push your kids towards engineering. Don't push your kids towards being a doctor or lawyer. No, we need those, but we also need regular stuff as well.
Right.
Survival handbook.
If everybody grows up to be an engineer, everybody grows up to be a doctor, a lawyer, who the hell gonna build the buildings?
Exactly.
Who gonna work on the cars? You know what I'm saying? Where the
Where's
regular
your,
people?
where are your blacksmiths? Where are your,
Right.
people?
Mm-hmm.
Let some Walking Dead stuff happen right now. These kids gonna be fucked up. Excuse me.
Don't get it twisted. Some of these adults too.
Yeah.
Don't blame it all
They're gonna
on
be
the
like, look
kids.
at him. Why he
Adults,
walking
too.
like that? You need to kill his ass because he about to
They
get
gotta be trying to
your
take a picture. They gotta try to get a selfie with the zombie.
They out there TikToking, dancing with the zombie.
Mm-hmm.
There's no thriller video, dog. This is some real shit.
That little video, the zombie going viral.
It'll go viral for sure. Yeah, for real.
So before you push them into going to college, see if they can have it. You have to see if that kid actually has an aptitude for college, because we're not honest with ourselves. Every child in college will be feared.
That's facts. That is big facts.
And you don't spend, now that you done wrap them up and they coming into life, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 in debt. They got a sociology degree that they can't do nothing with.
Can't pay a bill.
Yeah, hey,
Right.
life is now, man. You come out with a degree and it's obsolete.
Yeah.
We don't have to be single-minded, but these kids nowadays are single-minded. If you teach them one thing, that's what they're going to focus on. That's what they're going to do. If you tell a kid, hey, you're going to be an engineer, they're going to stay to be an engineer. Now you ask them to go plug that cord into the wall, they're going to look at you like, what? How am I supposed to do that?
Yeah. That's not my job. I don't know how to do that.
We have a tendency to push our children towards things that maybe we shouldn't have. Because we want them to do better than us. I got friends in other communities. I've watched my Asian friends push their children. No. This is what you going to school for. I don't care what you feel like.
Yeah.
You get that degree in this, at least I know if you don't make it, you still got this to fall back on.
Fall back on.
We don't do that. We've gotten away from that. We just tell them go to college and figure out something.
Right.
Yeah.
No guidance, no.
Start guiding them early, see what they're into, and play towards their strengths. If you got a hands-on type child that don't have an aptitude for sitting in the classroom, maybe sending them to a 4-year college is not a good idea.
Well, the thing about it was we were all sold a bill of goods that if you go to college, you'll be successful and you'll progress the next generation.
Yeah,
which in some essence it could be true, but the truth of it is if you go to college with no plan, you're just going to go to college.
Exactly.
Right.
You're giving them a lot of money because you're unsure, so you're going longer than you need to.
I mean, that was and Corey is right. That was the truth 30 years ago, 20 years ago. College is a debt trap now.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're going for a specific thing and you stay on focus and stay on goal. So knowing that, we got to start teaching our generation, the next generation of children coming up, different. Give them the option to see that this ain't the only route you got to go.
Hell, most of the people I know with college degrees don't even work in the field that they got that degree in.
Exactly.
You're looking at one right now.
And what C said is important too. They could be multifaceted. We can't just put them in one box. We can't limit them either. And a lot of times I think we limit our kids. You can be a plumber and this and this and that. You can be all those things. So it just depends on what drives you, what motivates you, what your talents are. So don't put limits, but don't also, like you said, they have to know themselves and you have to know what their skills are too. So
Well, see, we were brought up to also jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm-hmm.
We were brought up that way.
Yeah.
You know.
My son, I know he's always been interested in animals. So me and my wife, we did a Florida trip to go to Disney World. I
Mhm.
made sure I told my wife, let's go to SeaWorld. When you go to SeaWorld and you see the whales jumping up in the air, you see no black people on that feeding. I said, son, this could be you if you want to do that. You could be a doctor and working at Disney World down in Florida. That's what you want to do. So you have to expose your kids to, and I try to keep them on that animalistic type of feel because he's always loved animals since he was a kid. So I ended up buying him a lizard, bringing the lizard in the house. Loves the lizard, so it always he just loves animals. So I try to keep peaking animals. Him that you could be a doctor animal. You can do anything that you want to do. You like dinosaurs, you can go and be a whatever that. Go dig up. But you know, you always keep. I always try to, and then I like sports.
Paleontologist. Paleontologist.
Yeah.
Well, Skilly.
A day with a pet. Get with a pet. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
If that's the route you want your child, you think your son be interested in, may I suggest just take him down to your local vet's office.
Okay.
Let him talk to the veterinarian down there, see if he can volunteer in that office.
Okay.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And see if he's really interested in it. If he takes to it, that push him towards it.
Yeah.
But that's what we got to start doing. We got to start doing. Okay, you say you want to do this. Well, let
And
me
also
let you apprenticeship with them.
Gotcha.
Hey, Scully, they would Skilly, man. That would
and
be
also
a good
take him
field
to
trip
the
for everybody in his class.
Oh, I suggest
and
that.
take him to the Humane Society so you can see the other side of it.
That's
Yeah.
true too.
Oh, yeah.
You heard me?
Yep, I got you.
That's true too.
Man, this has been on Survival Saturday, y'all.
Great conversations always.
Yeah, this what I like. This what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing good, man. We're doing good. Well, for everybody out there, tomorrow's Father's Day. Shout out to all the fathers out there.
Yeah. And happy Father's
Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mutaf.
Day.
Father's Day to everybody.
Mutaf.
Yeah, and we're gonna keep this going next Saturday.
All right.
Same time, same place.
Check me out on Father's Day special. Well,
Oh, you are?
yeah. Ben,
Okay.
asking you, I contact you sometime today. But I definitely want you on the panel. I already talked.
Okay. I'll come through.
I got.
What you going live, Skilly?
What time?
I'm gonna do 4 because we gonna talk about the little school shooting. We going
4 Eastern time, Central time.
Eastern.
Okay.
4 o'clock. Okay.
Yes, sir. So yeah, everybody stay ready, stay
Yep.
prepped,
Stay focused.
stay focused.
Yep.
And
Love
happy to everybody in the chat. Verse there we got over there on the side. You know, thanks to Coy, Hot Tub Tony coming through. You know,
Yeah.
Big Dre coming through.
Yep.
Everybody's welcome, man. You're always welcome, man.
Absolutely.
Carbon.
Yeah.
Y'all be good, fam.
Guys, enjoy your day. I
Peace
appreciate
out.
y'all.
Peace.
And thank y'all
Have a
for
good one.
listening. Y'all are a very important part of any family structure. Online, in your homes. You guys don't get enough recognition. The everyday dads that do a lot. They always portray every other type of dad, but they never give you your props for doing what you do and how you do it. And not just your kids, your community, anybody that comes into your fold where you embrace them. So thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Carbon.
Love y'all.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you so much.
See you later.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Chopping us down. Peace.